Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Carrot and Stick podcast. And your eyes do not deceive you, this one is a little bit different. I'm not sat in my bedroom or in my office at home. I'm actually sat down here in London with two wonderful gentlemen who are joining me from Verto. Guys, we've got Martin and we've got Robbie. I'm not going to say the third one that I came up with earlier. How are you both today?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Appreciate you having us. Thank you.
No worries. And how was the drive up as well? Did you both come from Portsmouth?
Yes, we did. Martin drove. I was a passenger princess. It was great.
Were you trying the tunes or was he?
He still was, yeah. His car, his rules.
What were you playing on the way up then?
Some old school garage, actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, so solid crew.
Did not expect that, honestly.
DJ Luck and MCNE. Yeah, absolute classics. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, everyone's listening. They've now heard your names, Martin and Rob. Tell us about Verto. Tell us about you guys. Maybe we'll start there. Your stories in recruitment. How have you got to where you are today leading Verto?
I'll start because I'm the slightly older one than Rob. So, got into recruitment just out of university. The classic. Wanted to do something and fell into recruitment. Worked for a company that I think I was their 10th employee. They did all right. They really kind of rocketed. They got up to 70 people, and then kind of things fell down. So actually, Alex, who's the third owner of Verto, who's not here today, got together with him and decided that we were going to start Verto. I worked with Rob at our previous kind of company. Reached out to him. We had a curry, a few drinks. Accidentally sold him the dream, and then Rob got on board, and that's kind of a very basic level how Verto was formed.
Before I jump on to asking Rob about his background as well, I'm really curious about how that whole dynamic forms. Like, I'm not saying this in a bad way. Why Rob? Like, why do you think, I've got to get him on board. He's got to be in here as a founder with us.
So me and Alex, we knew each other personally outside of work. So we were at a friend's wedding. I managed to get him drunk enough to be like, yes, let's start the business. Because I was at a point in my life where I was either going to buy a house or I had some money to start a business. So got Alex on board. And actually, Rob, I was Rob's manager previously. Now, kind of mentioned earlier, I think I'm pretty normal in that I fell into recruitment. Rob is the only recruiter I've ever met that's grown up wanting to be a recruiter. So I was Rob's manager, employed him when I was 18, and he was an absolute rocket. He was a superstar, genuinely an excellent recruiter. I think he was a senior, joined us at 18, senior I think at 19 years old.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Although I did hold him back on a probation review that he's never ever let me forget. Sorry, promotion review. Yeah, hasn't let it go.
I see.
Up at least monthly.
Yeah.
So you're his top biller and he still didn't promote you is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just
shame.
because his notes weren't good enough, right?
No top biller's admin is great, let's be honest. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I can't say.
They're busy making money.
Yeah. So Rob had started a business with two other guys. Actually, I managed all three of them, so they ripped the whole out of my team at that point. But it was purely, I think I bumped into Rob at the gym and then messaged him I just want to run some things past you, just how to run a business kind of things that, as a recruiter, you don't know, accountants, tax bills, commission structures, all of that stuff. And little did I know how Rob was feeling, and he could talk about that in a few moments. But and also because I really liked Rob, respected him when we kind of worked together at a previous place. So it felt like a bit of a no-brainer just to ask him a few questions. I think that was on the Wednesday, and then on Saturday he reached out to me and said, "Look, really like what you and Alex are doing. Would love to get on board." And actually, it was the best thing that could have happened because the three of us, our skills really complement each other, and we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't all three of us as part of Verto.
Interesting. Well, I want to hear from your perspective. I don't know if you were shaking your head or nodding while he was saying all of that.
No. I was not shaking my head at all.
Let's start at that beginning point then that you mentioned earlier, because I've never heard someone say that. You knew you wanted to be a recruiter.
I mean, it wasn't quite grew up wanting to be one, but I was at college, turned 18, discovered I liked going out a bit too much and thought, actually, if I move away and go to uni, it might be dangerous. And my mum was in recruitment at the time doing really well. So I thought, I'll do that.
And you didn't see her having the wild party lifestyle and thought, yeah, that's for me, that's safe.
No. So then to get into recruitment, I started, speccing myself into companies. I was just calling around the local businesses, basically, to get my name out there. And that's when I interviewed for Martin's team. And yeah, that's where it all began. So I was 18. I'm 30 now, so still nice and young, but I'm a recruitment dinosaur. I've aged a lot.
It sounds like a good career, and the way you described it as well was inside a year you're up towards senior. I think if any recruiters listen to this now, they'll just be like, right, what the hell did he do so good for that first year that got him to senior that fast? What did you do?
I just worked really hard, if I'm honest. I think it wasn't uncommon to be in 7:30 in the morning there till 6:30 kind of thing every day. Monday to Friday, which isn't done so much now, I'd say. I know some people work a lot more than that, but there was no real secret. I just worked really hard.
It almost kind of feels like of that era, dare I say, in a way. You get a lot of people that come out of like S3 when I speak to them, for example, or Computer Futures, places like that, who say it was just nose to the grindstone, like 12-hour days, you're at it all the time, but it was that energy and that relentless momentum that kept you going on forwards. And it sounds like it was down that sort of vein.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there was a guy I worked with at the time. We kind of went in every day together, left every day together. So we were both doing that together, and he joined a month after me. So I think there was an element of I was in it with him, if that makes sense. And then, I left that business. I was there about 3 and a bit years. Okay. Started up an agency with two of my colleagues, like Martin said, ripped the whole out of his team, which was...
I bet he hated you for a year or so.
Not like I have with that promotion review 10 years ago.
My commission took a bit of a hit over those few months. So yeah, cheers for that.
I think ultimately we wanted different things in the end. That business is actually still going, so that's a good thing. And we are where we are now with Verto, which is great.
To kind of dig back to that first business then, because obviously you're here now and we'll talk about Verto in a second as well. What didn't work out then that has worked out this time around?
I don't know if it necessarily didn't work out. More of a sense of, I think in the end we probably just wanted different things and had different, end goals. When we started, we had the same end goals. But, the business as it is now, it's doing really well. And it's one of my business partners there. He's got home office in the garden with his wife. And that's how they're doing well. And that's what they want. And that's what success is to them. Whereas for me, I'm just, we're opening 2 international offices next year, at least maybe 3. And that's what gets me up in the morning. So I think in the end, we just wanted different things. It's
that momentum thing that, again, 12 years ago really drove you. It's a similar thing now by the sounds of it, right?
Yeah. I'm happiest when I'm working really hard, when I'm really busy. I like to just keep occupied. I think that's what it comes down to.
You're keeping Martin on his toes then, it sounds like.
Maybe.
Or is it the other way around?
I think we probably all keep each other. We're one of the things we're really good at is accountability. And we weren't great at that 2-3 years ago, but the 3 of us hold each other to account really well and to a high standard. So just high expectations of each other. So I say we probably all keep each other on our toes.
And then coming to the kind of Verto story then, where did the desire for that come around? Obviously, we can speak about both sides of this as well. For yourself, it was that first chat with Alex. It was the decision to then get Rob involved as well. What led to it?
So where we all worked, and Rob was there in its peak, that previous company, they were at 70 people. We felt like, we were in an absolute awful office in terms of it was an old broom factory, I think. But that's what made it great culturally. And the team I managed, I think it was 17 people. We felt like our own business unit. The culture was excellent. Rob's kind of talking about the hours he worked. Everyone in there was grafting, worked really, really hard. The business then moved into a new building, and you had teams that did multiple different industries that worked completely different ways together. And where that business had 4 or 5 different cultures merged into one, it just didn't work. So the headcount in that company dwindled, and the guys that own that business are fantastic. I can't talk negatively about them as people. Did a lot for me as well. But it almost felt like a Premier League footballer, and the team has kind of come down the Football League almost.
Yeah.
So
don't worry, Villa fan, been there over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Just in the down and then straight back up again.
Yeah.
Just in the down and then straight back up again.
Yeah, well, living in Portsmouth as well, you can kind of resonate with that. When I moved down there in the Premier League, not that much anymore. But kind of almost felt like, right, that's where I want to be. I want to feel like a Premier League player in a Premier League team. So I think Alex kind of felt very similar. And just a few other little bits, what do I want to do? What excites me? And when we started kind of getting together, we talked about a 2, 3, 4 year business plan. All of those things we've achieved early. And, there's been some diversions. At times we've bitten off more than we can chew. We've tried to do too many things, but that's what ambition looks like. You get things right, you get things wrong, you learn from that. But the 3 of us all wanted that, and we all push each other. So I think that kind of answers it as well. So
it does. And I guess I'll come to you for this one then.
So I think that kind of answers it as well. So
it does. And I guess I'll come to you for this one then. Sell me on Verto. What is it? What sectors do you guys focus on? Size of the business? Give me the pitch about Verto.
Yeah, sure. So the business was formed February 2020, so just in time for the pandemic. So, in hindsight, probably the worst time to start.
You were super excited in February 2020. The next month you were like, oh, shit.
We had about three or four good weeks, didn't we?
It's all gone wrong. What do we do? But no, first person joined us in Jan 21, still with us today in a management position. We're a team of 38 when everyone starts. We've got a few starters lined up. We work across, broadly speaking, engineering, technical sales, architecture. We've got subdivisions, sub-teams within that. Market-wise, Europe, US. When we say Europe, primarily UK. We used to do a lot in Germany, but we intentionally pulled out of that. And we've really thrown the sink at US growth in the last 12 months. I mean, that team's gone from 2 to 16 in the last 12 months. And what's really great about that is despite the rapid growth, the NFI per head is still at a really good level quarter on quarter. So we're just managing to sustain high performance despite high growth.
You hear so many businesses that try and scale quite rapidly and then it all just goes Pete Tong, they've hired the wrong people, they're not quite following the process the way they need to, the culture isn't quite right. And that NFI, as you mentioned, just comes way down, and before you know it's like, oh, we've got to contract the business and the whole thing has to unwind itself, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you kind of learnt that lesson with Germany, but the US, you've got it right.
Oh, exactly. And this is the thing, 2023, we may have got to about 20 people. So we took about another year to get back to 20 people. We only dropped to about 15 or 16. But we intentionally then took time to kind of take stock, look at our induction, look at our training, look at our BD processes, put pen to paper on a lot more stuff so that when we next had another growth spurt, we were doing things right and executing things in the right way. So we learned from it then, and Martin touched on it earlier, we launched marine, architecture, software, Germany. Software in Germany was one thing. And we actually then started doing software in the US all in the same 6-month period, which was just way too much. Yeah. And now, of all those things, we've still got architecture, and we actually scrapped software completely. We made that choice. And where we're flourishing in the US is on the engineering side.
Got it. Well, there's a few things we want to dig into there. Like what? Because you learn the most from failure. What did you learn in Germany not working out so well? Software. Why back out of that, for example? Then we want to talk on the US side, of course, because every bugger wants to go and do well in the US. There's a lot to learn here. Let's start with that first bit, Germany. What didn't work out there?
So we started working in Germany partly because one of our key clients were giving us a lot of work in Germany. So it felt like a natural decision, like, wow, we're working there, the fee.
Get 2 or 3 more of these, it'll be great, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
In your head, it sounds simple, doesn't it? Like, yeah, absolutely. Of course we'll do more of that.
We do it all the time ourselves as well, yeah.
It's easy. And, I had this, desire, right, let's hire a fluent German speaker because, Germans will work with German speakers, which is great. At no point did we think, hold on, this person's going to be really hard to review.
Yeah, that got tough.
Yeah. And
what are they even saying? Does it make sense?
Exactly. I'd look at the emails and think, I can't actually add anything to this.
Like, where you normally listen to someone's calls, because Rob was managing this girl, it was like, oh my God, yeah, we can't actually help here. So you very much got someone who felt like a bit of an island almost. And then, as much as I love Germany, the country, the culture is so slow. It really is. In comparison to America, which is lightning fast. They're amazing over there. There's, they don't believe in red tape. They move at such a great pace. So many great benefits to it. Whereas Germany, it's so much slower. So actually, kind of when comparing the two, it was clear there was more growth in the US. And although, geographically, we're much closer to Germany, culturally, it's a million miles away from the UK, really. And then obviously you add the language barrier in, it just wasn't right. And at the same time, it was probably a really bad time to get into software. 2023 is a lot of kind of cuts across the market.
Oh, yeah.
And actually it made sense to retreat to what we know. Like I said, Alex is the third member of Verto, he's not here, but we grew the business out of his market. He's the strongest recruiter out of the 3 of us. So where we did really well.
Rob's, I was switching as you said that.
Oh, no, not at all. It's unarguable. I always say Alex is the best perm recruiter on the South Coast. I said it just yesterday, actually.
Yes. Yeah. He's a fantastic recruiter. And so when we started, we were able to kind of piggyback on his work, his expertise. And actually, it was like, well, let's kind of retreat into what we know. And actually, that's been, again, one of the best things we do. Because right now, our US desks mirror what we do in the UK. Nice. So, and actually, we've done a little bit of work with some companies in the UK, but their sister company in the US, we've made a lot more money with, we're doing a lot more business with. So that's actually become more of our strength and what we're able to push on.
And you said you pulled back to what you knew by the sounds of it, given Alex's strength. Perm is what that is, right? So are you a predominantly perm business?
Right now we are. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What percentage split?
Right now we are. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What percentage split?
Oh, 99% perm.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, we got a handful
people
of
say to us,
contracts
after UK base, I'm like, yeah, like 99% of our clients are here. We've got like 3 abroad. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
So revenue-wise, we make more in the US than the UK now, but it's 99% UK. Perm, sorry. Yeah, 99% perm. But yeah, we are moving into contracts. We had a contract recruiter starting last week. We've got a few more things kind of happening, and a new starter coming on soon as well to help us with that.
That's fascinating, because over the last couple of years, guests on the podcast, general chats in the industry as well, whether beers or anything else, everyone's saying, oh, contract is the place to be now. You build your recurring revenue streams. That's where you're going to make growth as a business. And you guys have basically said, F that, we're building a perm business. And here you are now, still growing, still doing well. What's the secret? The $1 million question that every bugger listening really wants to know. How are you making perm work so well?
Business development is the key for us. We know what we're good at. We've learned that from the failures we've made over the last few years, and that's helped us really double down on what we're good at, which is, we're great with relationships, but we're great at winning new business. And I think when we look at us and we speak to people in the industry over 2023, 2024, one of the things that commonly comes up, I'd say 9 times out of 10, is we do BD every day. Martin describes it as you wouldn't go to work without brushing your teeth. We don't go to work without doing business development. And I think a lot of businesses see it as a bit of a taboo. And that's been, I would say, what's separated us from other people in the perm markets.
Interesting. Because, again, a lot of businesses have been focusing on BD for the last 2 years when they realise, oh, God, the market where jobs are coming out of your ears of 21, 22 is long gone.
Yeah.
You've got to go and do it yourself. But they either struggle to get their consultants to go and do it, because for a couple of years they didn't really have to do any. So getting that restarted is quite hard. The market's more saturated than ever because of things like AI spamming the living death out of people. There has to be some secret here that I'm not hearing just yet. What is it you do with BD so good? It's not just, we do BD every day and that's the secret sauce. What makes you do BD so well and be so successful with it?
I can almost comparing us to now to us to a few years ago is like, even when we were hiring people, it was almost like, I'd love it if they worked for us. Our attitude when we interview people now is, if you don't want to do BD, don't work here. You know, we might not be the right kind of company for you. We do a psychometric test on everyone that works for us. There's 2 kind of categories of people that we would hire, and we've been told we're quite unique in that. I interviewed someone quite recently, really liked him, but he wasn't the right kind of fit for us. And I kind of had to say to him, look, you'll do well in recruitment, but not with us. You won't like working here. Which is, we want people that are not scared to do BD, that aren't scared to pick up the phone. And if you are, you don't last. The only people that haven't lasted with us this year have been graduates who basically just couldn't sell. Lovely people, can't sell. And that's fine. No issue with that. So almost being sure of who we are, that you have to come in, you have to sell. It's not Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Cold calling is alive. Anyone who says it's dead is
Scared of the phone.
Completely agree.
I was going to call him an idiot, but yeah. I saw a post 2 weeks ago, thought leader in recruitment, cold calling's dead. It's not. It's
all for LinkedIn clicks at that point, I think.
Yeah, it fits what they're trying to sell, I think, is the only logical explanation.
And it's not the only thing, right? If you're just bashing 50 cold calls, then you're doing it wrong, right? But if you use it with AI, if you know, right, I've got a candidate, I know who I'm trying to target, I get the right companies, I've got the right data, then you're away, right? Don't do 50 shit calls. Do 50 relevant calls, or 30 or 20 relevant calls, okay? And then message them, and LinkedIn, and and then go back to them the day after and the day after that. So there's strategy in it as well, but yeah, you can't. It's not one thing. There's a few unique things I think that we do. We don't use any video. I don't really believe in that, but there's a few unique things that we do that really kind of stand out.
What are they then?
I'll keep on asking.
I'll keep on asking.
Back to something Martin touched on there, the type of people we hire. We use data to reach these decisions. We know that if we hire these 1 or 2 types of personality type, we have an over 80% success rate. So therefore, if we don't, it was like 21%. So that person that Martin really liked, we just had to say no, because we knew from our experience that there's a 1 in 5 chance they'll work. we're not taking that risk.
As much as you like them, and it's always, I did a hiring thing with like my leadership team the other day, and it was about this like unconscious bias you get into. Like, oh, I really like this person, I really think they can work out, because you want to believe in them, you want to trust them, but when you trip it back to the logic and the numbers at the end of the day, from the evaluations you guys do, it suggests they're not going to work out as nice as they might be.
Yeah, and on that BD piece, we're very, very disciplined. There's a lot of multi-touch. It's super targeted most of the time. So when we're approaching a business about somebody, we already know they're an excellent fit. And when we know they're an excellent fit, and let's say we've got one person and we're looking at 10 to 30 companies for that one person, we won't just approach them once. You know, there'll be at least sort of 8 touch points that go through that process if we see it through. And when we see it through, it's very rare that we ever don't pick up a vacancy when we've just followed our BD process from start to finish. It's really, really rare.
And are you mainly hiring seniors in that case then? Because you spoke about grads that you've spoken to, for example. Like, we can talk about like the current generation coming out of university now and what they're like with the cold calling, because obviously tech is all they really know these days. Yeah. It's the main thing they've done. I think it's harder to find people that love the phone, but are you focused more on experienced recruiters who have done BD before? Or are you saying, you know what, as long as you show the right characteristics, we'll bring you in and we'll train you? What does that look like?
It's a bit of a mix. I think the thing for us at the moment is the top of our sales board is still all homegrown, pretty much. So we're clearly very good at training people and upskilling people. But what we've done this year is to scale faster. We need more people we can build teams around faster. Yeah. So that's why this year we've shifted a bit. We're focusing on more senior hires. So we've far from shut the grad door, because we know we're very good at developing them. But yeah, the senior shift is to add a bit of pace to our growth this year. And I think as long as it's the right person, it doesn't matter how much experience they've got. It's the attitude that we hire for early on.
100%. That is so important. You know, we know who we are much more this year than we probably did 2 years ago. We want to be the most exciting recruitment company to work for on the South Coast. So our marketing this year, it's far better than anyone in the area. You know, we did a summer event earlier this year called the Summer Summit, and I did a bit of competitor analysis on other summer events in the area, and they were terrible. You know, there was companies just going to a pub and like that's their big summer event, and I'm like, great, you know. And then you know, we're then able to get people from those companies to come and join us, because it's like, well, our event was fantastic. There was, you know, a bit of drinking involved because we're a recruitment company. But like, we had, you know, Tom Glanfield, who's a fantastic guy, to come in and do kind of a speech. We had the managers talk about their plans for the rest of the year. We had it shot and filmed amazingly with drone, and you know, we put a lot of money and investment into it, and it sells us really well. But that's who we are. When we market ourselves, we don't want to look like another boring recruitment company. We don't actually want to look like a recruitment company. So that's been really key for us. So we're standing out against other companies in our area because it's pretty congested. There's a lot of long-standing recruitment companies that just a bit stuffy and boring. We run our monthly sales days, which we've been doing now for the past 5-6 months, and they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're the most fun day in the office. They're pretty BD centric, but we've never ever had to have a chat about, you know, can you get a bit more involved? Because culturally, everyone's up for it. Most recently, we did a Halloween one, and some of the outfits were mental. But like,
yeah. Same about the movies the month before. You know, it was only 4 weeks ago people were dressing up for the other theme, and everyone just put so much effort in.
That's wicked. Yeah. I want to say there's a guy that I know called Richard who used to work for a company called Refract. They're like call coaching, and now he's at a company called My Sales Coach. And he speaks about this monthly sales day where they give it a theme, and what they actually do is give it to one of the team and say, right, you're the one running this day. You choose the theme. There's a bit of like budget to use for incentives and that as well. And it sounds like you guys are doing something similar here. Yeah. What does a monthly sales day look like outside of fancy dress?
So yeah, I mean, because fancy dress, that's all the team have to do. And so I'll talk you through Squid Games. That was the first one. We coincided that with the release of Squid Game.
Classic.
Literally same week. It was.
Were people getting bumped off throughout the day?
They were putting money in a clear piggy bank. Some people didn't make it in the next day.
Yeah. All we said was come in wearing green. We said nothing else. So the three of us were in the red jumpsuits with the masks on. We had the music on.
Amazing.
We put a little invite on their desk though. Do you remember?
Yeah,
that?
we did.
The night before.
Yeah. And then every time someone's eliminated, we put money, you know, cash into a clear piggy bank, and that's what the winner won. So, you know, it's a decent amount of money. And all the games were related to Squid Game in some kind of way. So we had a graphic on the screen, which, you know, we used one up for, naturally. And as soon as someone's gone, they were eliminated. So it worked really well. And since then, it coincided with Wimbledon, the Premier League sales day, kind of at the movies, Halloween, and our next one's beginning of December as well. So they've been really good. And at the movies, we've got a popcorn machine in. Something quite.
You're actually invested in these things to make it more than just say, oh, here's a loose theme, like dress up a little bit, and then we'll do a normal day of work in a way. You're making it quite creative.
And we're literally, we've got 3 final interviews. We're hiring someone primarily on the basis of organising events for Verto. That is the main reason we're doing this.
That's really cool.
Just so we can really make them better and better and better, and just try and pull away from our competition that may start doing this more as well.
Wicked. I do want to talk about America in a minute as well, but because it's related to this, I want to jump onto it now. It's all good saying I've got this culture, BD focused, like the environment's really great. It's got to come with good reward as well. So how are you incentivizing people? Commission scheme, obviously, is that particularly juicy for people? Does that incentivize people to come and join you as well? Yeah,
we've got a really, really strong commission structure. Genuinely, it's the best commission structure in the area as well. Pays up to 40%. There's no threshold. So I put out a post, I think 3 weeks ago, that was I said, if you've got a desk cost, you're being taken the piss out of. Come work for us. There's no threshold. We pay up to 40%. It's paid monthly, but it runs over a quarter. So we genuinely have a really good commission structure. And basic salaries are pretty good as well.
Yeah, we're really competitive in the area. We're running 2 holidays a year now. There'll also be a third that will be in the form of a management summit. So there'll be 3 international trips being ran every year. We've then obviously got the sales days where there's always prizes.
I bet your Christmas parties are a right riot as well.
Yeah, they're, I'm often saying, no more photos, please. They stop now. People are too drunk. Yeah, 3 p.m, I think. But yeah, we always shut the office at about 10 o'clock for Christmas, for the Christmas party. But no, it's the international holidays. It's the 40% commission. We're giving people the chance to relocate abroad. We're creating an equity scheme that launches in Q1 next year, where 25% of the business will be then going to the team, which they'll earn every 6 months. So we feel like we're the only company on the South Coast that's putting all those things together, and that's helping us stand out.
I really like that equity play because I don't hear enough about it in recruitment. It's super common in software that you have EMI option schemes where someone joins and over X many years they'll accrue a certain percentage, and that's then their options to use at the time of exit or sell them on or whatever. I don't hear many recruitment businesses doing that. So what made you decide to start doing it?
Oh, lots of things. I mean, we've always known that we wanted to give shares in Verto to key team members. But actually, when we saw businesses locally going through exits, either partial or full, I can count on with my hands how many people benefited. Yeah. And we don't want that. What we want to do is, when Verto goes through a financial event, whatever that may look like, we want everyone to have the opportunity to benefit from that, and a lot of people to earn life-changing money. So that's always been a big driver for us. And you mentioned EMI, that is the scheme we're running with. So every 6 months, based purely on objective performance, a big cluster of people will earn shares.
They invest another amount, right?
Yeah, and then 6 months later, another load will be released. And again, people will never lose their shares. As we release more and more, if their performance drops, there'll be a little bit of dilution, but people will never go backwards. So that's another thing with the way we're creating the scheme that we're keen to get right.
It's really cool because you're kind of saying to the team, you are the fourth founder here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. If you guys have got your 25% each, whatever it breaks out to be, that extra fourth portion is then for the team, which is really cool.
It's exactly that, a quarter each. And our end goal is be employee owned. So that's what we're building towards.
This all sounds really, really exciting and really positive. I'm almost like, what's the catch here somewhere? And we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk America, because I think that's the big one as well that many will want to hear about, because many have tried America, many have failed over there, many just can't quite figure it out. How have you guys made it work for you? Because going from 2 to 16, did you say it was a year?
A year, yeah.
That is really impressive growth inside of a year. How have you made that happen?
Yeah, literally this time last year there was 2 and now there's 16. So comes back to BD. What we found early on, 12 months ago, we found it was a lot harder to pick up business in the US than it was to place it. It was almost like when we got the vacancy on, we were confident we would then make money. Right. Trial and error. We made some mistakes early on. There was one guy in the team, Ben, who he was really slogging it for quite a while. So hats off to him. He was really putting the graft in and laid the foundations and made it a lot easier for everyone that's come after him into the team. We've been very niche, or niche as they like to say. We know what we know what we're good at. We've stuck to that, and again comes back to the BD where I said if we've got a great candidate, they might go to 10 to 30 people when we're being super targeted with it. That's what works best. the multi-touch works best. You can't just email, you can't just call. You need to piece lots of things together to win business, and we need to keep popping up on the feed to the people that we're trying to work with. We've been quite localized as well. That's worked really well for us. You know, we're opening an office in Austin. The people that are relocating to Austin, 80 to 90% of their business at least is within a 3-hour circle.
Right.
We're opening an office in Miami. Everybody in that team, 95% of their business is Florida as a whole, but most of it is Miami or surrounding areas. So that's helped as well.
So rather than saying, let's open an office in Boston and we're going to target the entire East Coast, for example, you're saying, right, Austin, 3-hour radius, know our industry we're going after here as well. Don't try and basically bore the ocean, because it's a pretty big ocean over there, right?
Oh, it's massive. And I think people forget that. They think it's one country like England is.
It's basically 50 different countries, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Texas is a lot bigger than the UK just before you even venture out of it. So don't get me wrong, we do work outside of those 2 states. And we've got some great clients outside of those 2 states. But the majority of the proactive work we do is in those states.
Got it. And then coming back to Ben for a second, he was based in the UK, building up the US business, and that's when you thought, cool, now we've got enough business there, we can go over there? Because like you were saying, it sounds like you could pick up the business, but then placing it or closing it was the harder part.
No, sorry. Originally, it was the other way around. Picking it up was the harder part. But now, I mean, we've just got such a good flow of business.
Right.
With Verto, we always knew we wanted international offices. And that's because on the South Coast, there's some really well-established businesses that are competing with us. But what they aren't doing is opening offices abroad.
Right.
So this allowed us to be different. We knew that, therefore, we weren't trying to be the biggest recruitment agency on the South Coast. We want to be the best. But what we wanted to do was be the one that was opening sites abroad. So that was always in the plan. You know, and that's why it started with Germany, but now it's moved to the US. We were looking, you know, originally a bit later on in the timeline, but it's now early next year with the second site to follow in September, just because things are going so well. And we feel like with boots on the ground, we'll be able to go a lot quicker.
Got it. Okay. And so you've already got this team over there, like you said, it's about 16 people or so. You hear a lot of the generic advice about going to America, that, you know, Americans like buying from Americans, like to be able to meet you and shake your hand. Is that still true for you guys? And what else have you learned by having a team over there that maybe you didn't realise or weren't hearing about before you went out there?
So I actually think Americans like buying from Brits, as we're called over there. The accent does a lot of the work for us, which it doesn't do in Europe. If anything, it's the opposite, right? Yeah, which we've done to ourselves, right, to get that reputation. But yeah, being British in America is a massive strength. So that straight away, you've got that element of credibility. And I remember when Ben started, he would call himself British Ben, right? Played on it.
I was
right?
British Ben here.
Genuinely.
Exactly
excellent.
He did.
That's his voicemails as well.
Wicked.
And it worked really well for him. And, you know, a little bit of arrogance, which is a good thing. That culture, personality, it really works. So currently all the guys are in our Portsmouth office, but 6 of them will be going over to Texas early next year. So, and setting them a clear target, what they've got to do. It was, right, you guys bill X amount of money and we will send you over there. And then there was kind of 2 more people that joined afterwards. Again, bill this, we'll send you over there. And we've been really clear with everyone. Again, I think we're very honest. We're extremely transparent. When we interview people, we get to know them. They've got our personal mobile numbers. They can ask us questions at any time. And this has worked really well for us. And again, here, we're just really honest. When we first started, we said to the business, look, we want to be in the US by this time. It's a key driver of ours. If you're up for it, let us know. We'll work with you on it. And you know, Ben was the first one to put his hand up. He's from Portsmouth. I think he went to Portsmouth University. He was like, actually, I want to live out there for these reasons. We're like, great, we're going to back you. We're going to work with you on it. And yeah, come a few months, come beginning of February, he will be living over there. So just being really honest with people, clear expectations on what we want, what they want, and then it's really difficult to make people do something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to do it, if it's their idea and that aligns with us, we're going to get the best results.
Awesome. It must feel real good for you guys knowing that, looking back when obviously moves over there in February, it's been 6 years since you guys opened it back in February 2020. Those first few weeks passed and you're like, oh God, it's all about to come crashing down because of COVID. It must feel quite special to you guys knowing that you're about to take this next big step and go for multiple international locations, right?
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought of it being February actually as well. No, I still remember where I was when Rob phoned me and was like, because you know, it came tumbling down, you know, with lockdown and everything. And I remember Rob ringing me and saying, well, that's the last one. It can't get any worse.
We lost our very last vacancy. It got pulled. It's like, we've literally got nothing left to lose.
It's
The only way from here is up.
Yeah.
That's the kind of energy you want, though, isn't it? As well, it's good to have that.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, that year, while everyone else was having the summer of their life, we were adding data. So, so you know,
What I really respect from just sitting here and listening to you two guys, and obviously Alex isn't in the room, but I get you both said best perm recruiter on the South Coast. I get the same kind of vibe. Is you both sound like you're both really excited to be in the business day to day alongside your team, putting in the hard yards. I've seen so many leaders that enjoy their boozy lunches, finish early on a Wednesday to go and get the kids, for example, and that's a completely fine thing to do. But they aren't the ones involved in doing the business itself, right? They're kind of like, a man's off now, my team of 15, 20 are doing this for us. You guys, it sounds like, are still day-to-day, super involved in the culture and getting business over the line. Is that still the reality? Am I not seeing this wrong? It sounds like that's right.
I would, you know, I've got 3 children, love them. Verto's my 4th child. No, it really is, because the amount of time it consumes and we are so invested in it. And I think if any one of us wasn't, then I think the other 2 would hold that person to account. So, and ultimately that's what makes us stand out. We love it. You know, when we're not working, we're running the business on WhatsApp.
We rarely stop. We don't stop enough. And to be fair, something you touched on a minute ago, I think we're never satisfied. So actually, great. Verto's turning 6, new international office, probably be about 40 in headcount at the time. It's not enough. And it sounds quite bad to say that.
I think it's very admirable, though. Like, you can see how that's infectious to those that want to come and work for you. They see that energy and your desire of, I always want more, I always want to push on. And people want to jump on that ride and go along with you.
Yeah, someone used the analogy recently that we're flying a plane while we're building the plane. I was like, I love that. That is exactly what we're doing.
Did you guys watch Wallace and Gromit when you were younger?
Oh, I love Wallace and Gromit.
You know the one where he's laying the train tracks? The train's I always say to my team, the train's moving while we're laying the tracks, and I always think back to that gif of him just like spamming the tracks down while the train's flying along.
Love that.
It's exactly that, because like you say, there's no point in sitting there forever and thinking about things and planning it. Get it moving and then worry about exactly where you're going to go by laying things as you move along.
Execution's key. And this is another thing. People sit there, they plan, and they don't execute. The plan's pointless if you're not executing it. And that's something we've got very good at this year as well, is improving how we execute what we say.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the next person joining our operations team. That's to help bolster that up. That's to take some of the work off us. So our sales days are very good. We know we need to keep them getting better, because we know people around us are copying us, will be copying us more. So we've got that pressure, right? Well, how do we make next year bigger? But at the moment we run 12. Well, we've got an office in Texas. Well, that's 24. And then we open in Miami. Well, that's another 12 on top of that. So we've got to keep building, because ultimately to keep the culture right, we've got to keep moving forward, and we've got to keep getting out of people's way. Something I commonly say to people is almost challenge us. I want people to be saying to us, look, I want Verto to meet my expectations. If we've got a business full of great people saying that, then we're only going to get bigger and better. It's really exciting.
And it sounds like I was saying earlier on, for you guys, you're very involved in things. It's a classic thing. If you step in, you do something and go, cool, this is really good. We've got it to where we can. We need someone more full-time now, or that can put more time and effort on this to take it over. Yeah. Whether it's looking at something like the US, whether it's looking at the in-person events manager you're looking to hire as well. Again, it's good to see you leaning into that rather than saying, oh, someone else can manage that project over there. They're never going to care about it as much as you guys, because like you said, it's your 4th child. The business is your baby. Yeah. No one's ever going to care about it as much as you guys do.
No, and that's right. But this where it comes to the EMI scheme, we're really big on people first, one team. So we feel like, right, well, okay, if the business owns 25% and we all own 25%, that really bleeds into that and helps us get closer to that, where people do care as much as we do. And we've got a great team that do care a lot and put a lot of effort in.
Good, amazing. I want to come back to a bit we spoke about earlier about the whole hiring thing, and you guys know what it is you want. As much as everyone would love to be able to go, our hiring process is perfect, we never hire anyone that doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out, right? Or people's priorities change, or whatever else it might be. How do you handle that internally?
Try not to take it personally when it goes wrong. I think that's the big thing. I think it's very easy to take no accountability. I think every time we've had someone leave, we've had a conversation between 3 of us and go, right, what did we do wrong? Where's it gone wrong?
Yeah, every time.
And that leads to a change in process, because accountability is absolutely massive for us. Accountability works in 2 ways: that when things are going right, you can pat yourself on the back and say, fantastic, we've done really well, which actually we're really bad at doing. quite a lot.
You're never happy. You always want more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is a strength and a weakness. Right? But when things go wrong, it's about saying, yeah, actually, I made a mistake here. You know, I got this wrong. You know, I need to be better at this. This is what I'm going to change. So the times we have got it wrong, and we have, you know, and you know, we grew really quickly in 2022 when it was almost easy to make money in recruitment because there were so many vacancies. Look back on that now, and some great people that work for us as people, they just couldn't sell. Yeah. And that's what led to what are we going to do about it? And so Rob wrote something called the BD Playbook, which we're still using today. And we retrained the whole business on business development, got a bit of external training in as well to help us with that. And then it was about being brave to say, look, if you don't want to be that person, don't work here. And almost not being scared to say that. And again, bit of arrogance. You know, this is the Verto way. This is what we expect. Our values, we initially wrote them with some of the team in mind. And then actually we said, no, what's the three, you know, what's important to us three? What do we value? What makes us good? And then since rolling that out, we've really stuck to the values because we naturally live and breathe those.
But the team are brought in as well now because the team around it live and breathe the values. So, you know, curiosity is mentioned all the time at Verto. And it's because where we stick to it, the team now stick to it because the team that we have believe in the values like we do. We're not just trying to force things in.
What happened when you rolled out that BD playbook? Did you find a few people left who said, right, that ain't for me, actually, I'm out?
I don't think they did. We rolled it out in stages. So I remember I do like sessions at the front of the room with everyone on each part of it. And then we would set objectives based on it. And then we would run incentives based on it so that we were really trying to nail it into process. And I mean, you know, naturally people forget. We literally did a refresher on it yesterday and someone was at the back of the room saying, I forgot that existed. And I was there with my head in my hands thinking, oh, I can't believe that. That's upset me a bit because I remember doing this at the front of the room with you.
People forget things, right? They always say as leaders, like, you've got to repeat yourself 7 times over before a message finally sticks with people.
I say this to my team all the time. I say, I will repeat myself on all of the basics until you're mocking me for doing it. Because if you're not mocking me for doing it, I've not said it enough.
I love that.
So that's what I say it to everybody.
Until they're mimicking it back to you and parroting it around.
Yeah, I will say this a lot, and I know I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but it's until I see it every time. And like I say, until you're mimicking me back and taking the piss out of me behind closed doors, I've not said it enough.
That's actually a really cool way of thinking about it. I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
But no, nobody left when we wrote the BD playbook. I think because we'd steadied the ship a bit and the team that were left were right, this was about looking forward and making sure that we made the right hires going forward. And our retention's been amazing since we've known our identity, I think.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely.
And then coming back to something else you spoke about earlier, you said when you guys got together, you had this 2 to 4 year plan, you've achieved all those goals. You spoke a bit in the previous business that priorities kind of drifted a bit, you all wanted different things. How do you make sure you all stay in sync? Are you regularly getting together once a month, once a quarter and going, right, where are we at, guys? What do we want from the next year or so? How do you make sure you don't have that drift in expectations that could see the business unfurl a little bit?
We talk, we talk all the time. Genuinely don't think there's a day that I'm not in contact with Robbie and Alex. You know, my phone, my WhatsApp, it's, you know, I'm one of those people that has first name and then almost someone's, you know, their meaning to me. So, you know, Rob Verto, Alex Verto, you know, my WhatsApp is full of something Verto and then some friends.
I might just dairy one up now, am I?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it would be, right?
Yeah.
You know, so for everyone on WhatsApp running the business, we talk all the time. Even when on holiday. So I think it's that constant communication piece. We were setting each other like targets and things like that. And actually we've done better since not doing that. And actually we're further away now than we've ever been. You know, Rob runs the US side of the business. Alex runs the UK side. I do everything else in between. So we've got almost that, having the different job titles has given the space to breathe and own something. So that's worked really well. So I just think it's the constant communication.
That's just on job titles. Who's one of you got president? I want to say it's you because you're doing the US side of things. Your class is president in terms of your title. Do you call him president? President Rob?
No.
He will soon.
Yeah.
President Rob Verto is the new name on the phone. But I think to add some more to your question, where we've got such clear goals now over the next 5 to 10 years, we know that everything we do is to build value in Verto. We know that our big focus is drive top line sales. We've got strategies in place that mean the bottom line looks after itself. We don't take too much risk, but we also take enough risk that the top line doesn't suffer with growth.
Got it.
Because we know what percentage of growth we need to achieve over the next 5 years, year on year, to hit the goals that we have. So I think having that almost one end goal with obviously lots of mini things to get us there, that helps keep us on the same page too.
Help me understand that more then, because you said that you've got your clear goals. Top line growth obviously is the obvious one. People want to grow. That means revenue needs to go up. What's the 5-year vision for you guys? Where do you want to be in 5 years? What have you defined it as so that you're all super clear on where you're going?
Well, ultimately, and this won't be in 5 years, we want to sell the business. We want to exit. Okay, I think more realistically, it's 7 to 8, and the earliest it would be is, I think, was it 5, 6?
5, 6 earliest, yeah.
And that's it's 100% this year. It would then be 50% year on year.
Growth, that is.
Growth. Yeah, sorry.
Revenue, not headcount.
Revenue.
Yeah. You can't measure growth in headcount. I think that's the biggest.
People did for a couple of years, and they are growing by 200% over the last year. And I was like, yeah, but is the business going up with that as well, or is that just headcount growth?
And this is the thing for us in Q2 and Q3 in particular, we were growing headcount, but also we were having record quarters for NFI per head, and it was like great. Not only is headcount going up, but actually performance per head's going up, which was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, companies that shout about turnover, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It's absolute nonsense. So we've got the kind of where we want to be, kind of 6, 7 years, kind of possibly get out of the business. I don't know, 5 years. Where do we want to be? It's certainly the short term goals are easier. At least 2 sites in the US next year because we've got the people to do that.
Yeah, those term goals are always more concrete, more tangible, aren't they? Things that are in 5, 10 years, like so much changes.
Yeah.
Who could have planned for COVID, for example, right? No one could have.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Absolutely.
Certainly not you guys.
Yeah.
We know where our revenue needs to be. We know roughly what steps we need to take to get there. I think we've now got the team we need to hit all of our 2026 goals. We're now looking at, okay, well, we now need to build the team we need to hit the 2027 goals. So that's one of the big things front of mind. Like I say, the 2 sites next year is the easy part, not the easy part to execute, but the easy thing we're working towards. We know that we want to get to at least 4 US sites and at least a second site in the UK in the next 3 years. The reason we're doing that is we want sites in key locations so we can hire the best team so we can build value in Verto, basically. We're going to be creating micro brands of the business probably next year. We were looking at maybe
So you'll have
Verto
something else.
for example. Yeah, exactly that. So because the thing is, although I said earlier, broadly speaking, engineering, sales, architecture, everyone that we have that works at Verto is in a niche that is quite tight, really tight in some cases. And we want the brands to reflect that, to represent them better, if that makes sense, rather than them needing their personal brand to do it. We want to be able to back them with the Verto brand.
If you're from Verto Energy, then you know what the whole brand is behind that, and it's much. You can go much deeper on that.
Exactly.
And there is then the scope in the business for, let's say, someone who says, look, I want to move to, New York. Will you back me? Will you set up an office there for me? If that person's right, absolutely. That's one of the things that we're able to do, with the 3 of us owning the business. We can be quite agile and say, yeah, absolutely, you are that person, we back you. Or, I'm going to move to London, because we've got the sites that we want to open after the immediate 2, and that includes like London, New York, things like that we want to do. It's just who does it.
Got it. I did ask you about this before we came on air, and I should have asked it a bit sooner, to be fair, as well. Portsmouth. Why?
We've been asked that a lot recently. We'd never given it a second thought.
I've never heard of someone building a business this fast in Portsmouth, admittedly. We've got a couple of clients down there. We mentioned a couple earlier on, but it doesn't strike me as like a recruitment hub. But you guys, as you described earlier on, it's actually turning into one a bit.
Yeah,
it's more of one than people think. And I think it all goes back to the 80s when Matchtech, who are now Gattaca, were formed. I think it probably all stems from there. We've got a lot of agencies in a commutable distance from us. Nothing like London, of course. Nothing like Austin, Miami, New York, LA, the places we want to get to, which is why we want to get there. But yeah, there's a lot going on there. But I mean, why Portsmouth? Martin went to uni there. Alex went to uni there. They both were from kind of small towns in Oxfordshire and decided they liked the beach and wanted to stay. And I'm from Portsmouth. So that's really why Portsmouth. It's just circumstance.
And like you say, the community building there sounds like it's pretty good. Like talent-wise, it must be quite great if there's the Matchtech Gattaca fall out of the 80s, for example.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's quite a hub now.
There's so many other agencies around us, some really good, some not so good. And we've been able to, this year, we've been really lucky and worked quite hard on that, actually getting some really good people out of those businesses. We're quite lucky in that those businesses that were great pre-COVID, they're smaller now. And you actually were able to kind of take those people out because we're on the rise. Our aim is to keep growing, to keep that momentum. We know as soon as we stop that momentum piece, we don't want to be that company that were great 5 years ago, whatever. We want to keep being the best. And Rob mentioned earlier, we don't want to be the biggest company in Portsmouth. You know, I don't want to be the strongest hamster or whatever. You know, I want to be big in that. You know, and that's why like we do want to be in London, because that's naturally where.
I was going to ask where your next locations are in the UK that you're thinking about, and say surely London's on the card.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it certainly is Austin and Florida, and there may be one other in the US next year that we're in discussion with at the moment. It's then certainly London would be after that, because between the three of us, it's then the most commutable place to get to. And you know, I like Manchester as a place, but that's a hell of a journey from Portsmouth. And I'm not leaving Portsmouth. So yeah,
I've been down to Portsmouth from Birmingham. That was 3.5 hours. So another hour and a half on to get to Manchester. You'd be looking at a 5-hour journey up there.
Yeah.
It's a bit long, isn't it?
Yeah, you should have someone move up there and. Just events that's where you want to be. London sounds like the place that's more exciting for you guys, though, given the kind of culture you've built and the energy you've got behind the business, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's. But there's no reason we couldn't be in Manchester if the right person was to do it. Absolutely, or Birmingham. I really like Birmingham.
Yeah, if someone in team came to us with that and they're the right person, we'll back them wherever they are, and that's something we're super clear on.
Got it. I'll ask the big question that I ask everyone because I'm always curious to know, given it's a hot talking point at the minute. What do you guys feel about AI? Where are you on it? Are you using much of it? Are you sort of I'll wait and see what happens kind of vibe? What does that look like?
It's a key part of our business. We recently hired someone actually who came from a business where he wasn't allowed to use ChatGPT.
Interesting.
So he was he's an ex-marketeer. So he was doing it on his phone on the sly and then emailing himself because he was like, why have I got to write this profile by hand when I can do it in 30 seconds? So and speaking to other people, I know some businesses, people take the piss with it, use it for everything and all of that. But we use it as a core part of our business, but from a time-saving aspect. From a writing emails piece, like personally, I cannot write a fluffy email. Okay, I can have a great conversation with someone. I can be really endearing, ask all those questions, but to put it to paper, I cannot do it. It's just not in my nature. But using AI, I can do that. To write a candidate profile, what would have taken me 5 minutes, now it takes me 20 seconds. Notes on our system, again.
Call transcriptions. Yeah, we use it to make our lives easy, and we use it every day for that, but we're not using it to replace any major parts of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Improve every part.
Makes you more efficient is key for us. And there might be better ways of doing it. I know, there's some companies that are literally replacing people with AI bots. I can't see how that fits in what we do. Certainly the lower level recruitment market. I think, the high street recruitment market, if I was in that, I'd be really worried about being replaced by AI.
It's extremely transactional, right? No real relationship in it.
Yeah, whereas our biggest market is sales engineers. So you can't judge a good salesperson on paper. It is all about the call and the kind of the interview that the recruiter does with that candidate. So for the market we're in, I'm feeling pretty confident that AI is only going to help us, and it has made us more efficient.
It's something that James Osborne of TRN spoke about a while ago. I want to say it was probably about a year ago now he first posted this graphic. But he was like, if you look at the division of time for a lot of recruiters today, there's so much like stuff packed in the admin side and meeting notes and emails that you have to write and all the rest of it. It probably takes up a good 60 to 80% of a recruiter's time. It's why admin is always seen as this necessary evil, right? If we can get a shift with AI where you go to saying, okay, that's now 20% of your time, and the rest of it is doing things that a human can uniquely do, speaking to candidates, building relationships, going out and shaking people's hands and meeting them face to face. That's what we hire recruitment consultants for. We don't hire them to be admin or technical experts. We hire them to be people, to be salespeople, right? Yeah. And that's where I'm excited about the future for AI. But very much as you guys have said, I don't see it as a replacer for people. It enables them to go and do what they're best at is the idea.
Oh, 100%. It's another tool. It's another tool to be used. It will make the great recruiters even better, and it will probably show up the bad ones.
Yeah, massively agree.
Absolutely, and there's still recruitment companies that don't use a CRM and don't use the tools like that. That they're only going to get left further and further behind. But no recruiter in Verto should be writing a CV, should be writing a profile, should be writing up candidate notes. All of that stuff is done using AI in some form. And one of our challenges is to keep the pace up, keep adapting. What more should we be doing? What kind of what needs to change in Verto? And again, we change a lot because naturally, we're 18 people at the beginning of the year. We're how many people are we at the end of this year?
38 as it stands.
38. So next year we need to end the year, 50, 60 people. So there will be change in what we do. We're quite open with that with the business, but it's positive change. And if you've got shares in the business, if we're doubling in size in a year or 2 years, then your shares are worth more. So it's in everyone's interest that within the business that we keep growing, we keep making these efficiency changes or other changes that we make as well.
And we do say to people, we will make a lot of changes. We're a fast-growing business, therefore change is in the nature. It's in our DNA. So if that doesn't work for you, we're not right for you either. And we're very clear with that. And not every change we make will be right. And then we'll quickly change back. Back to the word agile, that is what we are. And again, I think with that transparency of what works at Verto and who works at Verto, that allows us to make sure the team's the right team.
What I say to my team an awful lot is we have to disrupt us ourselves or someone else will disrupt us. It's like disrupt or be disrupted at the end of the day. And that's all the changes is you trying to always evolve and do new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. I like that.
Nick it. I've already nicked some of yours today. I'm trading over little sayings and
I'm having the Wallace and Gromit one though. That's fantastic. Yeah. So.
You'll get like on WhatsApp. You'll be in the group chat later. Just post that clip in there of him laying the track. Say this is us, boys. That's us. I am curious about one more thing actually, and then we'll start to wrap things up on like any tips that you might have for the founders on what you've learned so far. You both spoke about you're really driven, really motivated by the sounds of it to make this a success. I think what people tend to see, especially on social media, is people that are like that. They get up early in the morning. They've got a bunch of coaches, like life coaches and personal trainers and all sorts. What does your lives look like outside of work? What is it you do? How do you maintain this high performance persona that you're both in, clearly 24/7? How do you stop it from burning you out?
One of the most positive changes I think I've made on a personal level is the gym I go to. So I'll name drop them actually, Fusion Gym in Portsmouth. I'm pretty regularly there, 6 o'clock or 10 past 6 in the morning. I go in there, drum and bass when you walk in. I love it.
Energy gets you going for the day.
Absolutely. And then I kind of go home, kind of see my partner, kids, all of that stuff. And then I'm going to work with that energy. And I'm trying to, my pet hate was when I walk in and I'm hearing like Magic FM on the radio. I'm like, no, right, get that off. Come on, bang, let's go,
Hard techno.
Yeah, it's like, right, let's get the energy up. Come on, guys. I'm a naturally quite an energetic guy, so...
I could never have told.
Yeah. So I try and, if I bring that to work, because that's quite easy for me. I'm not putting on a front there. That's who I am. If I bring that energy, that gets people up, and you've got to be high energy in recruitment. If you come in and you're not motivated to be there, and it's a bit drab, and I think we've all worked in that office where you're scared to make a noise. For us, it's the opposite. It's music, it's loud. There's people with headsets walking around. And again, that's the type of people that we hire. So that's what's going to happen. And then when I'm not at work, I'm not working. My weekends are on my own to be spent with my partner. She's amazing, with my children as well. They're fantastic. So to really enjoy that time when I'm not working, to kind of be me as well. So.
How about yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm very, very social, but spend a lot of time with my wife, my child. My son was two days ago.
You're building this while going through a kid, they're going through the first 2 years as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, but for what keeps me in check again is the gym. It's health, it's fitness. I ran an ultra marathon in the Sahara Desert last week.
Wow.
So when I booked it, I thought, right, what can't I do? That sounds difficult. I'll book that and train for that. So I just like to really push myself in that way. And I find I show up best for work and for my family if I look after myself. And that's not necessarily a big change I've made this year. It's been over the last few years, but I've doubled down on it a lot this year. I set myself kind of health and fitness goals for the year, which I've hit all of them now. It's accountability, but to myself outside of work, to allow myself to be the best inside, like I say, for work and family.
And do you find you guys speak about like your personal lives often and kind of like share and support each other through that as well? Or is it more kept to the side and the business is all you speak about?
I'd say with Rob, absolutely not. It's quite funny actually. We are horrific at my partner Amy. She'll ask me, how's Rob getting? How's the son getting or whatever. I'm like, I've actually no idea. I've been with him for 8 hours, and at not one point have we asked each other. What do you mean? Ben might not have known Rob since he was 18. I picked him up this morning from his house to come here. I never actually knew where Rob lived.
Wow.
So no, but not. I don't know. Not for any reason.
But it works,
I think that's naturally just who we are.
Make an effort to Martin and I with each other have to make an effort to ask about someone's weekend. They could have done something amazing, and we'll have to really go out of our way to talk about it. Right. It's not quite like that with Alex. Alex is more naturally, not personable with us, but he'll take more time to really get to know what you did at the weekend. Whereas with each other, we kind of skip that bit.
Business.
Yes, it's straight to it. It's not.
We'll talk about our workouts though. We spoke about that on the way up.
Yeah. Actually, I'm comparing gym workouts this morning. But yeah, no idea what you're up to the weekend. Yeah, but
Not even on a drive up from Portsmouth, you had a chance to speak about it.
You thought I was going to Peppa Pig World soon. You said, when are you going to Peppa Pig World? I was like, yeah, I've just been.
yeah, pretty bad at that. But it's.
Do you know where I'm going on holiday next week?
I know you've been to Thailand.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
Right.
so you know something then. That's all
Yeah,
right.
I only know that because you've been there about 5 times.
At that point,
Stab
you
in
just
the
random
dark.
guess and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's been there before, Tyler."
Yeah.
Yay!
I think that's what just happened.
But ultimately, it's I don't know. We got work in common, and you know, we were actually very similar people. To be fair, you know, it's we have run together outside of work, things like that. So we do get on very well. And if we didn't own the business deal, I would actually like Rob and go for a beer with him. Then, you know, in
You're
a
saying that
normal
because you're in a
capacity.
business together, he doesn't like you as well.
Yeah, not at all. But you know, go back to the fitness side of things. It's accidentally a really core value in Verto. I think 95% of the people that work at Verto are gym goers or play football. It's a really, really active
Physically
office.
active, and to a level to competitive as well. Even if just for yourself, I find that's a really motivational part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We really should set up a run club, but
We keep talking about it. We should just do it. Yeah.
I think our sales team for the last 2 years has been trying to convince the whole company to do a Tough Mudder. And we
Right.
almost did it last year, but the Saturday that it fell on, it was like he suddenly wasn't available. So he was like, "Oh, we can't do it." And I was like, "Woo, thank God for that." I did like a Spartan race all those years ago. You seen them ones? Like little 5K ones with like all these different things you have to do, like little challenges. They're horrible. Like carrying massive like buckets of stones up and down a hill, like crawling through a sewer tunnel. They proper take it out of you. It took like 4.5 hours to do it. I was like, what on earth is going on? It's only a 5K.
I've done Tough Mudder once and would never do it again purely because of the ice. You know, you have to go down a slide into ice. Freezing cold water. I came out. I didn't know whether to cry or if I was going to wet myself. Like my body just went into shock. It was awful.
As we start drawing things to a close, then from each of you, I'd like to hear like what your biggest piece of advice would be, either to yourselves from 5-6 years ago or to other founders that are looking to get things moving. They've got the ambition, they just don't quite know where to go with it. What's the biggest thing you've learned, or what tips would you offer to them?
Oh, I think almost if I could say to myself a few years ago, I think it's kind of back your own ideas. You know, actually. The more I believe in something, the more I will drive it forward. I've been called pig-headed before by an old boss, which I think is my biggest strength, as well as a little bit of a weakness, but also my biggest strength. If I truly believe something, I will push it through to completion. So certainly that, and you don't get anywhere without hard work. Quite simply, it is that. No matter if it's recruitment, sport, whatever you are doing, if you don't work hard at it, you won't succeed. And that's a lesson I got from my parents. You know, they were always working growing up, and you know, they've achieved a lot, and you know, they passed it on to myself, and hopefully I can pass it down to my kids as well. If you work hard, you can genuinely achieve whatever you want to do. So probably those 2 bits of advice.
You spend the pig-headedness and kind of call it more about conviction, like not half-arsing something, being all in.
Yeah, mate. That's a more positive spin on it.
My manager called me pig-headed once. Yeah, conviction.
Yeah, I remember him saying it to me. It's like, look, it's a strength and a weakness of yours. And I left. Maybe it's me being arrogant here. I was like, oh, it's a strength of mine. Yeah, I'm quite pig-headed. I do believe in something. I will see it through. Yeah. So, yeah.
What about you, Rob?
Echoing a lot of the same. I think if you looked at it from a recruitment perspective, I would say work hard, know your niche, and do business development every day. I think if you need to nail the basics daily, and then the rest kind of does look after itself.
If you can't be asked to do all that, come and work at Verto.
No, don't. You can't be asked to do
You
all
can
that.
try.
I know some other places you'd get a job, but no, not Verto. But yeah, although we are hiring at the moment. So if you've got all the things we said, then yeah.
I was just
jump
about to
on
say,
board.
any kind of shout outs or plugs you want to do, but you can't just do it. You guys are hiring down in Portsmouth, I assume?
So Portsmouth and the US. So, but also if there's anyone in London that wants to set up there, yeah, absolutely. Reach out. You know, we're open. Reach out to us. We're on LinkedIn. So yeah, always open for a coffee or conversation over FaceTime.
Excellent. Well, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure having you both up. Thank you for making the drive up as well. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope all continues to go well. I'll get you back on in a year or two, and I want to find out how the US has gone, because it sounds like it's a really exciting time for you guys. So again, a big thank you, and chat to you both again soon.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. Cheers.
And catch us next time for another episode of Carrot and Stick. See you later.